Hey guys, welcome back to the N8 podcast. On today's episode, I have a special guest here, Andrew Lageschulte. Welcome to the podcast, Andrew.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. And on today's episode of the N8 podcast, we're going to sit down with Andrew here and talk a little bit of his testimony, talk about his experiences with his faith and certain challenges he's faced in his life. And yeah, so without further ado, if you'd like to get things started and share a little bit of your testimony.
Yeah, let's get into it. I'd say I'm like a lot of people in the sense that like when I was growing up, grew up in a Christian household, and parents both love God, both Christians, and all that. I wouldn't say I really started to know God, know Christianity for myself until like sixth grade. I'd say that's when I really started to start to question, really see like what this faith thing means for me. I'd say it probably started a close friend of mine. His dad invited me to youth group at church that one night, and at the time, just going to church on Sundays. That was pretty much it for me. So at that time, it was just to go and make some more friends, and that way, didn't really care too much about it. More than that, I'd say just being in that environment there, just really seeing and really digging into small groups and everything that goes on there, just what the Christian life really looks like. I think it just started to form my mind, and it started to just grow an interest, and I wanted to know Jesus for myself, not what everybody around me said he was. I want to know who is this Jesus, and what does he mean for me. So I kept going to youth group, and then same friend, his dad invited me to the FCA at their school. And so I started going to that in seventh grade, and eventually started did that until through high school. So I started going to FCA Friday mornings before school, and still just kept growing in my faith more and more. And and then all that time too, I would say I knew of the Bible, didn't really know much about it and the details of it, but I just knew it was the Christian book and whatnot.
The rule book to the Christian life.
Yeah, I know we're supposed to follow this, but I know I wanted to read it for myself. So I know I asked my friend's dad who was leading the FCA if I could have a Bible of my own, because I never had one growing up. And I know from there, I just started reading. I think started in New Testament and Matthew, the Gospels, and read all the way through.
Good place to start if you haven't ever read the Bible. So
yeah. So we went all the way through the New Testament, and then went back to the Old Testament and Genesis, and went from there. And before long, and probably took a couple of years, but got all the way through the Bible. And I think just over time, just started to see how God was starting to change me within. And I know for me, I didn't have a real big aha moment, from death to life and across the faith line, you could say. I guess I've always kind of thought of it as like a crockpot testimony. You could say. So I just I think slowly over time, just God just continually working in me and in that way. So I say I just kept going like that through junior high and through high school. It wasn't perfect at all either. I mean, I think a lot of that. Struggle with sin and lust and all that things with that, and so I think for a lot of it, I just really when I struggled with my faith, it was seeing this high standard of Christianity and Jesus and who I wanted to be, and the man I aspired to be, and then kept feeling like the man I am was so far away from that. Just constantly striving to get there, and just feeling like I'm not a good Christian. I'm a second class Christian. You could say. So I think just struggled with that for a lot of high school, and I think just really over time just started to see that I don't have to win this battle. I can just rest in the fact that Jesus bought my salvation. And I can just rest in Him, and He already won the battle. He won the war, and I can just rejoice in that. And so I'd say that's a pretty quick summary of my testimony. I'd say.
Which I mean, a couple things stand out immediately. Just like the crockpot testimony is not any more less important than the aha moment testimony. Like, all testimonies are important, and something I like to talk about a lot is you'll have people that have those crockpot testimonies where they grew up in faith, and you also have the people that have the aha moments, and both are good. Share like you can share your testimony either way. It doesn't it's not something you can't share because you have grown up in the faith compared to I just got new to my faith a few years ago, had like a radical moment where Jesus saved me from death to literally death to life. Like I was going to, harm myself in some way, and then He saved me. But, both testimonies are important. And another point from that is just the growth through that time of just how, you were getting more involved in your faith. And then even through the struggle of sometimes not feeling like you're enough, you were continuing to show up and just rest in the fact that God like as you learn more about the Bible, as you learn more about your faith, that God was like enough for you, and you didn't have to be enough for Him. And that's just really cool to see.
Yeah. I was gonna say too, like I've heard it said that even if you don't think you have a testimony, that is a testimony in itself. Like if you grew up like going to church, had great parents, and you grew up in the Word and the faith, and like you never struggled with sin or anything, and you think like, oh, I've never overcome any addictions or terrible traumatic things in my life. Like that is a blessing and a grace of God in that way.
Exactly.
That's a testimony you can share about His goodness.
Yeah, no testimony, like again, no testimony has to be this crazy thing. It can just be every testimony is a testimony. If you know Christ, you have the ability to share your faith with others, and it can make an impact with people. And so after high school, you went on a gap year trip to Colorado. So what was that like?
Yeah, it was really amazing. Just real quick. Digging into more, I'd say like I think going into it, it was really interesting how I got involved with it because like coming in high school, senior year, I didn't really know what I was going to do after college, and I was looking at the colleges and applying and seeing what options there were, but nothing really excited me a whole lot. And at that time, if I went to college, it would have just been because everybody else was going to college and just kind of going with the flow and just because that's what I'm supposed to do, you could say. But still, I didn't feel like that was what I was supposed to do. I know it was during FCA in the spring semester of our senior year. One of the girls I was in FCA with the year before, she graduated a year ahead of me. She came back to our group and talked about this gap year program called Summit Ministries in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And that time was never thought I'd go out of the state for a long time. I was just always lived in Iowa and lived in Cedar Falls. So didn't really expect to go anything out of the state or do anything crazy like that. But they kept looking into it more. I just found out like, man, it's like a really cool program just to get away from the world a little bit. And like the first semester was kind of off the grid in the Rocky Mountains on this ranch, and so it just seemed like a really cool opportunity. So I just pulled the trigger and went ahead with it, and not knowing, I'd never been out there before, knew nobody. I showed up on this ranch in the middle of nowhere, with like 40 other strangers that I'd never met before.
Dang.
And then got dropped off and said bye to my family, and I just got left there for 3 months. So
that's so cool.
Yeah, so it was really really cool just to get there, and then like spending 3 months out there in the Rocky Mountains, and like every week we had a different professor come from all across the country and in the world, just talking about their different subjects. And like history of Christian thought was one, just kind of going from basically like the time of Moses up to like the Reformation, like 1500. So couldn't cover all that in a week. So it was really intensive and like intensive in class time and a lot of subject matter. But also, we had a class on the Christian imagination and like cultivating a sense of wonder and joy and enchantment in the Christian worldview.
Wow,
so it was really cool, like interesting thing that I've always thought of it. It's gonna be like when I grow up and have grandkids, it's gonna be something I'm telling them one day, just about that experience.
Shoot, you go from learning about Christian history to all of a sudden, here's your imagination, how it works in the Christian life. Like, whoa, that's So what was your favorite class that you took while you were there?
I want to see. I know there was one professor. He was talking about he was doing a lot of apologetics. But also he talked a lot about it was a guy who talked a lot about the Christian imagination. He kind of did a lot of that in the same week. But he even talked about like the Christian sense of beauty, like truth, goodness, and beauty, and how that incorporates into the Christian worldview. And like another part of our program, like every week, we went and did solitude in the mountains for like basically just walked in the forest for an hour and a half and just sat there in quiet.
Dang.
And so he was really big on just telling us to go in the woods and just look at beauty and see how God's created everything. And he even talked about like this thing called the meta narrative. It's like just how this entire life and like from creation to now, it's all this one big story that God created, and it's continually going on, and that how we we have a part in that. Like we're not just like bystanders looking out, but we can be in this work, like in this story, and we can be participants in this big story of God, and just like finding joy in that. And even talk about like it's the big dance with God, and just God's inviting you to come dance with Him in some way. It's like that's I never heard it described like that before, but it's just so cool to just think about that. It's like a lot of times just this big burden, like, oh, I have to go spread the gospel, I have to go serve, like, I'll just like a big burden on your life. But just flipping the perspective a little bit and just seeing how amazing life can be. And also like having, there is tragedy and there's hard things in this life, but that's just all part of this big dance. Like, you're gonna fall, you're gonna break your leg sometimes, but at some point you're gonna get back up and keep just keep living for Jesus and every moment, and it's gonna take you a lot of places, and God will do great things with it.
Yeah, it will. And that's really cool. Where it's like, something for me, I don't think I'd ever like go to Colorado for like a summit program, but like, just so cool to see like that you did that, and you're like, it was scary, but shoot, you just pulled the trigger, you went and you did it, accomplished it, and now you're back here and living the good life here.
The good life here,
yeah. So that's really cool. Going back to your high school experience, and you were a big football star back in the day, and one thing from obviously like going to school with you and just going to FCA with you and being involved in like church programs and stuff with you, you were always seemed like you just had the injury bug. So is there any like stories of that, and how like through your injuries in football and through your injuries in sports that you saw God work good in the end?
Yeah. I'd say, looking back now, I think I've just definitely seen a lot of ways that God has worked through that. I guess just starting in high school, big football guy. I love football, and I started playing flag football in like in elementary school, and played middle school, and then started on varsity through high school, and really loved that experience. And I was even looking into playing like college football eventually, and that was something that was on the radar. It's kind of ended up not doing that because of the shoulder injuries. But I'll start with like in sophomore year, I was playing football, and like it was going fine. And like before the season, I started having some pain in my shoulder, and started asking what was up with it, and went and got checked out. Like, oh yeah, you got a torn labrum there.
Oh my gosh!
So I played through that season, rehabbed through junior year, getting ready to play the first 2 weeks, and then in practice, just had just playing normal reps, and even just in warm ups, I was going tackling a guy, and it slipped past the shoulder pad, and tore it again. Missed the rest of the season. Had surgery, and then rehabbed for a senior year, and made it through the whole year. Still just wasn't 100%, and even now, that was three some years ago. And it's just been bothering me again. Went got checked out again, and sure enough, like didn't have a torn labrum, but just had a bunch of cartilage damage and everything through my shoulder. So now I've had three surgeries on it. And I think just even when I was getting MRI and the imaging, the doctor was saying that a lot of it's due because like when I was born, just like genetics, like the shoulder socket's a little more shallow than usual. So even just thinking about it that way, like God formed me in my mother's womb, and like in Psalm it says I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, and like what does that mean when I have a bum shoulder? Like I love playing football, and then it just kind of gets taken away from me, and can't play in college, and just just kind of being bummed out, and that, and all the rehab and the pain that goes along with that through football. But I definitely say, looking back now, I would not be in the situation I am right now if that didn't happen. So I think if I had a good shoulder and was able to play in college, I would have went and played in college, and like I said before, would have just done it because everybody else was doing it. Would have loved to play football, but wouldn't have done any like schooling that I really wanted to do, and would have just done it, and might have just been 4 years of football and graduated, and still just find myself in the same spot, and had a little fun, but still just still a little lost and not really sure where I'm going. But definitely looking back now, if I didn't have all those shoulder surgeries, I wouldn't have gone out to the summit. Wouldn't have had that amazing experience that I'll remember for the rest of my life, and just how that changed my faith and my Christian worldview and all that. And even now, like all the relationships I have with the friends from that, like all across the country, pretty much, and going back out there for weddings and everything in the summer, just having that blessing, and then even like for the past year, since coming back from Summit, I've been working as the handyman, and learned a bunch of skills from that, and just basic stuff like doing plumbing and electrical and carpentry and stuff, like just learned a bunch of skills that way that I probably wouldn't have had if I would have if I didn't have the shoulder surgeries and went and played football. And and now I'm looking to going to UNI in the fall, Northern Iowa. So just seeing how God's working through all that, and just writing a story. And I don't know what he's going to do, what he is doing, but just gotta have faith and just obey, and just just one step at a time.
And take the first step and see where he leads.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's really cool. And what are you going to UNI for again?
For technology and engineering education. So like being an industrial tech teacher, shop teacher. So
that's honestly not surprising with your handyman experience. Also, if you guys need a handyman, he's a guy. He'll fix stuff. But so going back to the football story, and junior year is like really big on recruiting and missing out on. You said most of the junior season.
I missed
the entire junior
had
season?
9 games, and I played the first 2 and missed the rest of the season.
So that obviously was like hard on the recruiting process, but also like God was shutting that door to then open the other ones. So it's cool to see in retrospect, but in that moment, it's definitely like imagining what you were feeling in that moment, where it's like my entire junior season, huge on recruitment, is now gone. Like that just really stinks. But God worked it out. For his good. So
I mean, because I was wanting to do that, and I love playing it, but it's just like again, just seeing what God's gonna do, and He'll take He'll take the bad things in life and work it for good. And, like was Romans 8:28. We know that all things work together for the good of those who love God. Just that promise that like God will work all things. And that's just not like only the good things. It says all things. It means even the crappy stuff, the good stuff. All of it, He works it for His good and His plan. And not to our plan all the time. A lot of times not to our plan.
No, if it was our plan all the time, we'd have a lot more stuff than we know what to handle, and we wouldn't know what to wouldn't know what to do with it, and we wouldn't take a chance to be grateful for the things that God provides us in the waitings for the things that we're waiting for in God's plan. And doors will shut, windows will open, other doors will open, and that's something that, like, if we try to force our way through a shut door, then that's outside of God's plan, and He makes that pretty evident. It's kind of cool how He does that. So
that's been my experience too. Just like seeing that door was shut, and then it's like, oh, right when like I said, that door was shut. Right after that, the door opened to go to Colorado. And then when I was getting done with Colorado, the door opened to come back and work here in the handyman. And then as I've been going through the shoulder stuff again, the doctor's saying probably can't do handyman and full-time skilled trades for a career. And just kind of getting bummed out again with that. It's like the thing I'm good at, I can't do for a long time. But then again, the door opens at UNI, and just seeing how there's a immense need for shop teachers right now, and so like just seeing how these doors open, and just take it one step at a time. And who knows? I mean, this path might not work out again, but no door's going to open. Just keep taking it one step at a time.
And that's really the Christian life in a nutshell. Like through sanctification of us growing in our faith and continuing to learn more things, we also will just continue to get shaped by the things we experience, the pressures of this world, the opportunities that open up to us, and maybe that opportunity will open up for a season and then it gets shut. And then again, like you mentioned here, that the summit in Colorado wouldn't have happened if these things would have gone a certain way or a different way. And it's God's plan is, again, above ours, better than ours, and He has it all for our good. And if we just trust in Him and in His plan, it's not always easy to trust, but if we just do that and trust in Him and lean not into our own understanding, but just submit all of our ways to Him, I think I don't know exactly what verse it is off the top of my head, but if we just do that, and again, not easy, but just do that and try to follow God as best we can, and perfectly, of course. None of us are perfect, but just go through the process of sanctification and learn and grow and just become more and more like Him. So
and going with that, I'd say another verse I've been thinking about a lot lately is Proverbs 16:3. It says, commit your activities to the Lord and your plans will be established. And so that's just been, through this process, just been thinking about that. It's like, I don't know what's going to happen, but as long as I just commit my activities to the Lord, whatever I do, whether it's in Colorado or here, just if I make it an effort to live for Him in all my actions and my daily life, to all the way down to how I sleep and exercise and eat. If I do it all for Him, like He will establish our plans and establish our steps, and He'll make a way.
Exactly. And that's, again, not just the big things, but like the literal like little things in our lives, the things like sleep as you mentioned, eating, exercise, wellness, what we watch, what we consume, um, just like to protect all of that and just like let it be holy and honorable to God in all the ways. And going back to now that you're back in the area, going to UNI in the fall, you're a busy guy. A lot of ministries that you're involved in, and what have what are some of the ministries you're involved in, and what's kind of been your takeaway from those ministries, and how have those ministries helped in your faith walk the last year since you've been back?
Yeah, for sure. I know since I got back in September, I knew I was wanting to get back in the community.
Yeah.
Because I was, all my other friends from high school, the community I had were all off at different colleges and doing their own thing, and so I didn't have a real good community anymore. And because I knew I needed, other believers and especially other men of God around me. I knew that was important, but just didn't know where. So that's why I reached out to you about going to the salt company here in Cedar Falls. Just because I heard good things about it and want to go try it out. So got plugged into that and got plugged into a C group there, connection group, and just like meeting once a week with 10 other guys, just talking about the message that we had every week, and then just confessing sin to one another, and just praying for one another, and just just living life together. So yeah, just cool to see like how I've been able to get some new community that way, and just build relationships with those guys. It's been really good to see. And then from that also got connected with the Prairie Lakes College Ministry too now. So I'm in lots of ministries around here. I've been plugged into that with you now. That's been even more so, just getting more community and just meeting more people and getting more friendships and just people to bounce ideas off of, and just like it says in Proverbs, just like iron sharpens iron. Just a needing Christian community around me. So I think that way, just having people to count on every week and just talk to about things I'm struggling with, or things I'm just wanting to talk about, or questions I have, just bring it up. And having a good Christian community, but also just building friendships that way. Really good.
And that's again one of the things where like good friendships start with good Christian community, and good Christian community is almost essential to the Christian walk, because sometimes people will say, "Oh, I'm a Christian. I got saved, or I stepped over the faith line, whatever." You refer that to, and then you just like, I'm just gonna sit in my room for 12 hours a day reading the Bible, or I'm just gonna pray on my own and miss out on the community. And is that a bad thing that you're reading the Bible and growing? No, like it's good to also have your own quiet time, but there is a need for community where like you can confess sins to your brothers and sisters in Christ, depending on your gender, and you can just grow in community with other people your age, other people who are striving for the Lord, and also the entire body of the church. The importance of like going to church too is I feel like often missed in our generation, where it's like growing up for me and you both, it's like, hey, every Sunday morning you're getting in the family van and you're going to church, whether you want to or not. But once you get past a certain age, it's like you have to make that decision for your own truly. And it's like a lot of times the individual study in this generation, from what I've seen and like heard online, it sometimes takes the priority over the like large setting of like a church, and that the community aspect and the church aspects kind of lost some of the importance that it used to hold, which is very unfortunate because of how many great things can come from good solid Christian community and a good solid church that teaches out the Bible, teaches good theology and stuff like that. So
and I've heard it said before, like Christianity is not a lone wolf religion. If you're gonna try to just go live in the woods and just read my Bible and I'm gonna live my life that way, it's not gonna work out too well. I mean, maybe for some people, very few. But in the grand scheme of things, it's designed to be a community religion, be around people. I even think about look at Jesus, and he even had, he didn't have to, he could have done it on his own, but he had people around him. He had he had John the Baptist, he had Mary, and he had 12 disciples with him too. He was doing ministry with. So you need people around you, and like you're saying too, like with the study thing, I think you look at Jesus too and see how he wasn't always going out and being with people, and he wasn't always just going and being by himself. You saw him when he needed to go have time in prayer. He went up on the mountain by himself and had solitude and prayed with God. But he didn't stay there. He also went out and was preaching to the thousands and feeding the 5,000. So just having that tension there. It's like kind of finding a good balance between that. of having time in solitude and study, but also time to go out and preach the gospel.
Yeah, and that's again something Jesus could do perfectly, 100% truth, 100% grace. He could model obviously perfectly for us as we're imperfect people trying to follow a perfect person, Jesus, where it's like some days it's really hard to get that perfect or ideal quiet time in your day. Maybe it's just you're reading a verse a day, reading a chapter a day. You don't have an hour and a half to devote to solitude, and you don't have all this quiet time. But maybe that day you're spending that time in the Christian community, you know? So it's like kind of trying to find that right balance of the importance of that individual study time, which is very important to your faith, of growing in the Bible, growing in prayer, going in your individual quiet time with the Lord, and also the growth of being involved in the community, being involved with other people your age or of like similar gender, whether it's like a full men's group or college ministry, you know, whatever your age is, and just being involved and just learning and growing from them as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as we get back to talking about the like solitude, that's something that is pretty fresh in our minds. That was something that our small group at Prairie Lakes was just going through this past like 5 or 6 weeks. We're going through practicing the way practices right now of spiritual disciplines, and it's been really beneficial to me and beneficial to like I believe the whole group. Just like digging deeper into these spiritual practices, and we started off in prayer, and that was really good, like learning prayer rhythms. And recently we were just in solitude, and just the importance of solitude and how like it's one of those things that in the Christian life is similar to like fasting and Sabbath, where it's like kind of individualized and like it doesn't have to look the same for everybody, but it's something that's important that a lot of people may not know how to start or know how to do right away. Is there any takeaways you had from the solitude practice in particular that you kind of want to talk through?
Yeah. I know. I guess just talking about that experience, I think it's been really, really good just to have that intentional time of solitude, and even if it's just 5 minutes or you're doing an hour and a half, whatever it looks like. It's been really, really good. And I just think of one time in particular, I was just wanting to just really get after it and do the solitude. So went for a bike ride and went to the lake and just sat on the bench under a tree and just sat there for probably an hour and a half, just like with no phone, no anything, just sitting there, just you and God. And it took a couple minutes just to really settle in. And then I think just really get comfortable with it. And then I know I could probably, after I got settled in, I was thinking I could just sit there all day and just be in that and just rest in God in that way. I know the thing about that time there was when I was really thinking before I signed up to go to Northern Iowa in the fall, and just still thinking about God, what story are you writing, and how do I fit into that, and what next steps can I take here, and where do you want me to go? I just kept asking God, like what are you doing in my life, and where should I go? And for a reason, just kept thinking. My mind was just over again was just faith. I was wondering what's that mean, like faith. And I think I was just really seeing how looking back and reflecting how I think in some ways just like the spirit of fear has kind of crept in a little bit, and in my life, and just scared to have faith and just step out and go venture and take a chance with God. And it's really funny because I took that chance going to Colorado, which is really crazy, but I still find myself having a hard time and getting scared of stepping out of my comfort zone. And like really just going all in on God and just taking a step with Him. I even know it brought up to me. I was thinking about Abraham, when God called Abraham. He said, "I'm going to take you to a far off country," and He didn't tell him where. God didn't tell Abraham where he was going. He just said, "Just follow me," and it said Abraham went. He didn't know where he was going, but he just went. And I even was looking through Hebrews 11, just like the Hall of Faith, you can say. Just seeing how all these people by faith, like think about Moses. He went and this guy had a speech impediment and like was a nobody, didn't have any business going to the court. But then God says, "Hey, you're going to go into the Pharaoh." Probably one of the biggest, most powerful leaders on the earth at the time. And said, "Hey, you're going to go tell Pharaoh to let my people go." Like what? And like this guy's not, Moses isn't qualified. He's like, "I don't know what I'm doing. I don't want to do that." But you look at him; he had faith, and he stepped out and went. So I think just I've been looking at those stories and just applying in my own life. And if I can always pray and just ask God to give me guidance and set all the barriers right and have them set it up perfectly for me. But at some point, you still have to take the step.
Yeah,
He's not
exactly.
gonna step for you.
Exactly.
He can set it up perfectly for you, and have all the, like I was saying, all the guide rails in place.
Yeah.
But he's not going to step for you and take that leap of faith. He's not gonna give you faith for you.
Yeah.
Some point you have to step out in obedience and say, God, I'm going to trust you.
Yeah.
And then he'll take that and he'll just expound on it and take it, to crazy levels, and just see how God will work in that. That's why I'd say that's what, just think about that. Just really relying on God, and just resting in Him, like we were saying, in solitude as well. Just really resting in the cross and resting in His salvation, and that's all I need. And I know at the end of this life, it's not depending on me or what I do. I know that my salvation is bought by the blood of Jesus, and so I don't have to worry about it. I know that when this, it can seem like life's going crazy sometimes, and don't know what's going to happen, or if the world's going to fall apart. But I know that He's got it in His hand, and so with that, I can just rest in Him and just walk by faith every day.
Yeah, it's crazy because it's like, even with Moses, like God sent Moses was like, I don't know if I can do this on my own because I have my speech impediment, and He sent Moses' brother Aaron, I believe, to go along with him because Aaron was more consistent in speech, where he's like, oh, so I really don't have an excuse now. I can't use my speech impediment. I can't play that card. Like, no, I actually have to go out and do it. It's same with like the story of like all these Old Testament stories really point to that, where it's like even Jonah, who ran away because he didn't want to go to Nineveh, and then all of a sudden gets swallowed by a whale, and then he said, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And then still ended up going, it's crazy. And even back to the Abraham, how like he went up to the mountain in pure faith and was going to sacrifice his son. And it's like, talk about
faith. Talk about
faith.
Out of
that was his only son at the time, right? I believe.
We had one. He had Ishmael before.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Because he was trying to do it on his own way, and God said, "No, you're still going to have a wife with Sarah. You're not getting out of this."
That's right. That's right. Yeah, and even through that, and then was willing to sacrifice his son, and God provided a way. And like you were just saying, talk about taking a step of faith. That's the biggest step of faith. I mean, I don't know if I could do that if I was Abraham in that situation, but and just how that turned out for his good in the end. And there's a mountain or goat caught up in the thistle that was able to sacrifice instead, and then got promised the generations of generations just from that one step of faith. And it's so crazy to see that, even like thousands of years ago that's happening, and then even today, where it's not a prosperity gospel where like you do this thing and it's guaranteed to give you tenfold, but no, it's just there is a sense of like, if you take the steps that God has for you, you still have to, like as you mentioned, you have to take those steps as well, but he is working it all for your good. Even in the worst day you're having, the worst situation, there's a tragedy in your family, something bad happens, but God is still working behind the scenes, past our understanding at that time. And in the end, it'll all work for your good. And sitting in reflection is a lot of times where, like, when you're in solitude and reflection, that's where, like, you can really bring that full circle, and you're like, dang, that season of my life was really hard. That was a very, like, not comfortable season of my life. It was very difficult. I had a lot of bad days, but thanks be to God that I made it through that season, and I'm where I'm at now. And I don't think a lot of things that we go through in life, you may not be the person that you are today if that thing hadn't happened. And even in the highs and the lows, you can be thankful for that thing because it taught you a lesson, or it showed you something that you now learn today for the future. So
I even think, going back to Abraham real quick, just think about that is because he was praying for years to have a child.
Yeah,
he was way past childbearing age. Well, his wife was past childbearing age too. Beyond like any reason, he could not have a kid. And it, like, within human reason and like just how our bodies work, it could not happen. He was praying for years, and he's thinking, like, is this actually gonna happen? And God actually provides. And this big mountaintop moment, like, he gave me a son when I wasn't expecting it. And then so just you can see Abraham, like, in that big moment, it's like, oh, thank you, God. Just how excited he could be. And then not long after, he said, okay, give him back. Like, what?
This is my son that I've had with my wife. I've been waiting for this moment forever. I even went and had other kids because I didn't trust your plan, and this is my son who you finally gave to me, and you're just telling me I got to sacrifice him? What? But crazy, God just worked it out.
Because Abraham could have went and done it his own way again. He could have said, "No, I'm not gonna. Like God, you just gave him to me. I'm not gonna give him up again."
Yeah.
And he could have just kept him. But then, if that didn't happen, he wouldn't have prospered Abraham into a nation beyond the stars or whatever it says. So just seeing how even then, after he receives this amazing gift after praying for so many years, Abraham still had the faith to say, "God, I trust you, and I'm still gonna do what you say." And with that, we see how God still provided, just because he had faith, and he said, "By Abraham's faith, you'll be saved."
Yeah. It's cool to see like when you're reading the New Testament and you look back at the Old Testament, that those people weren't saved by the things they did. There's one verse in particular, I can't remember exactly where, but it's like their faith was credited for and accounted for. Like it's because of their faith that they were saved, even in the Old Testament, because in the Old Testament they had faith in the coming prophecy of Jesus, and in the New Testament they were able to look at the fulfillment of the prophecy that Jesus was there, and we now can look at the fulfillment of his life, his death, his resurrection, and his being raised up into heaven. So all throughout that, it's not because of the Old Testament, them following the Ten Commandments perfectly. It's because of the faith that they had in the promise of Jesus coming. The New Testament was a promise of Jesus being there and being who the fulfillment of the prophecy, and then us that we're still waiting for that prophecy to be fulfilled, that he's coming again the second time. And we can look back and see that and just have faith that that is what happened. And so all throughout that, it's not works at all. It's all the faith that they had, which is really cool to see from generations, thousands of years ago to today. It's the same thing.
Yeah, and like Abraham, he wasn't saved because he was willing to sacrifice, because of his works in that way.
Yeah,
but he was saved because he had the faith in God, and then it resulted in the work. On the backside of that. So it was his faith that saved him, and not like the works that came of on the backside of his faith.
Which that could be a nuance that people are like, oh, so I do these good things when I'm saved. So that if I'm not doing those good things all the time, that means I'm like a terrible Christian. Not necessarily, like we're all gonna still stumble and fall short, and we can go back to God in repentance. But it's more like the understanding of, those things can be hard that we go through. And I lost my train of thought there, but I completely lost it. You know what I'm saying though, where it's like how sometimes people look at like works and they're like, we do those good things and it's because of those good things we're saved. But no, the works are actually because of, like, when we are saved by faith, the works are like what we should produce because of like our love and adoration for Christ. It's not something that like we do because we try to earn our spot, because we can't earn our spot. There we go. Found it.
There we go.
Found the point. There we go. Yep.
Yeah, because it's not that faith plus works equals salvation. It's that faith equals salvation, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then plus works on the backside of that.
Yeah.
It's not that like our works have nothing to contribute to our salvation. Paul says that. He says, "My works like filthy rags."
Yeah. Exactly.
Like they mean nothing. Like for him, he had he was a Pharisee and top teacher in the law. He had it all.
Yeah.
But that's not what it is. It's a faith in Jesus, and that's what you're saved. Like that's how you get salvation. But then like I said, on the on the backside of that, it's not that we have to do works. It's that we get to do works.
Yeah.
That we want to, because we've been saved. We can go from there. We can go, like it's a joy to do works. It's not a burden. Like that can be the dichotomy sometimes. It's kind of the difficult thing to think about. It's not like that we're required to do it to get saved, to get into heaven. It's that after we have faith, it's a joy to serve the living God.
Yeah. And just looking at like what verse talks about this specifically. It's one I talk about a lot on here. It's Ephesians 2:8-9, where it says, in verse 8 it says, "For it is by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not from yourselves, it is the gift of God, not by works, so that no one can boast." Again, it's not by our works that we're saved. And then verse 10 says, "For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do." So we're created to do good works, but it's not because of our good works that we're saved. We're saved through faith, by grace, through the gift of God, which yeah, that's the verse I always go back to in we're talking about works and faith, because it says it pretty clearly. Like, we're saved by grace through faith in Jesus, and the works are what we do because of being saved by faith. So
yeah, it's not like that we have to like do. We don't have to follow all the law like in the Old Testament. We don't have to do all these things. Like Jesus says the two greatest commandments are love God and love people.
Yeah,
and that's it. And it says, all the law and prophets are held up by these two commands. And just so it's a real simple faith. And it's not like we're working for it, but we just have to love God and love people. And then I guess with that, I'll say, like, I've heard it once said that God requires three things of us in this life, and that's like what He wants from us. He wants us to love God, love people, and walk with Him daily. And that's like that's it. Because you think about the guy I was listening to, he was saying he was going back to the Adam and Eve in the garden, and like before the fall, that's what it was. Like God would walk with Adam in like the cool of the evening, and that's what that's what it was. That's what the perfection was. To walk with God daily, and I don't think that's changed. I mean, a lot has happened since then. But still, the basis of it is to love God, love people, and have communion and fellowship with our Creator. And like that's it. We don't have to do much else than that. Just simple faith and love God.
Yeah, and I've also heard it said like two ways, where it's like salvation is a one-time decision, and also an everyday decision. Like it is a one-time decision to like take the statement that like, this is like how I got saved. This is when I got saved, by grace through faith in that moment. And that's when I declare that like I'm living my life for Jesus. But it's also a daily decision. Like every single day you have to wake up and you have to like devote yourself to walking daily. Like you said, walking with the Lord every day. And again, is that something that me and Andrew do perfectly here because we're sitting on this podcast? No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Honestly, there's sometimes more days that we stumble than we succeed, but through grace and repentance and just continuing to grow through the process of sanctification, that's something that we're aiming towards and something that we strive towards in the Christian walk. And as we learn more about the Christian walk, as we grow more, and sanctification is a lifelong process. It's not something that can be solved the second you get saved. It's not something that gets solved the second you make that decision to follow Jesus. It's something that is from the moment that you accept Christ to the day that you die. The completion of that comes when you take your last breath and take your first breath in heaven. So, that's sanctification is something that, a lifelong process, not an easy thing. But
never gonna end until we are perfected in heaven, like you're saying.
Yeah. To close this episode, again, thank you, Andrew, for coming on the podcast. It was really nice to sit down.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really, really good opportunity to sit down and learn more about your testimony and just have an opportunity to go back and forth on, some of your life experiences and how it's shaped you into the man you are today. And it's really awesome for me to just like witness, like walking alongside you in a small group, and just like how you are truly a man of God, and how like the growth of like your spiritual walk has like truly been lived out. So that's really awesome to see. And so you have any last final things that you want to kind of have the viewers stick with? Any last remarks?
Yeah. I think I just have to go back to what we were talking about, just about faith, and just comes back to every day, just do the three things: love God, love people, and walk with Him daily. And that's it. We don't have to do all these great things. We don't have to go conquer kingdoms, and which it might happen if we love God and love people, and God might work that. That's not our objective. Our objective is to love God and love people, and that's what we need to do and strive for every day. And with that, like just do our best. Don't have to look around to other people, know what other people's faith look like, and comparing yourself that way. But just do your best and live for God, and then just leave the rest up to Him, and just let Him work.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wonderful advice. To close, would you like to pray us out?
Yeah, I'd love to.
All right.
Yeah, dear Lord, just so grateful for this day, and that I can just come on here and just talk with Nate and have a wonderful conversation, and just worship you in it, and learn more about you, and we can just discuss this, and like we're saying, just continue in our sanctification, and just continue to love you each and every day, and each and every minute of every day. Just continue to develop wisdom in us, and just pray that anybody that's viewing this video just take something away from it, and Lord, just encourage them, and just give them just give them faith and just give them comfort and peace, and just knowing that all they have to do in this life is love God and pursue you and have faith in you, and you'll take care of the rest. And so I ask you that you would continue to work in our lives, and that you would continue to open doors and close doors, and just thank you that you were writing the story and not us. Because if we were writing it, it would a lot of times not turn out well. But we know that we can trust in your promise, and just be grateful that you're working all things for good. So we love you, Lord, and just thank you for everything that you do in our lives and in the lives of the people that are watching this video. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. God bless, and stay tuned for the next podcast episode.